Hey everybody, it's me, Deogenz, and you're watching Pokemon of the Week. This week, we are going to look at the Little Cup to raise a Togepi. Now, we don't often do many Little Cup episodes, but I like to throw them in there to mix up all your metagames because there are multiple tiers, not just Uber, OU, and UU. There's NU, RU, rarely, there's the BU, which I forget what that even stands for, but who cares, because in the Little Cup tier, included with the Eviolite item, Togepi makes a great supporting poke. Now, of course, what we typically know Togepi for is its metronome, but that is no strategy to rest your laurels on because of the randomness of it all. So what you want to do to make this set non-random and work to the fullest, max out its HP, which it doesn't have much of. That's why I stress maxing it out, because the longer this thing can stay on the field, the more boosts you can get up for your team and then baton pass them off later after you've morning sunned sufficiently. So, with the Eviolite item, defense and special defense gets boosted by 50%. So that's why we're going to cut up the rest of the effort values that remain by 50%. We're going to cut them right down the middle and split them between defense and special. Now I know some of you more hardcore metagame masters out there are gonna get mad because I included every single effort value, which only gives you a 31.5 or 31.2 boost, which means it's not a full divisible by 4 thing. But if you didn't include the remaining 4 effort values, it would not get to 31. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely recommend my effort value expertise guide. But basically, it has to do with the max amount of effort values you can have, which is 510 on any one poke. Now, the point of the ability is variable, and it's up to you what you want to do. Now, Serene Grace, since we're not looking to amplify any sort of secondary effects with the attack set that we have here, I would actually say skip it. There's really no reason to have Serene Grace. Super Luck all the way. Increases the chance of critical hits, so that's awesome when it comes to Psyshock. And this works out perfect. The way that Togepi is designed, it's meant to be bulky, at least in Little Cup. When it evolves, it becomes a sweeper, so we will definitely have to take a look at that set too for Togekiss. But in its little form, it will beast the competition with only one weakness, especially considering that weakness is amply covered by its attacks, Psyshock or Extrasensory. It's up to you. However, with Psyshock, although being a special attack, so it's affected by your special attack stats, that's why the nature doesn't diminish any special attack, it will affect your opponent's physical defense. So consider that. If you're coming across a fighting type that really doesn't have good bulky defense, then Psyshock is your move. I would say prepare to see what's in Little Cup, how many pokes of a super effective possibility have a good defense. If they don't, if they've got poor special defense, then Extrasensory is the tactic to use, because that will affect its special defense and chop it down fast. Interestingly enough, Togepi has some strange moves it can learn, like Flamethrower. I was even surprised to see Psyshock, quite honestly. But those don't really matter for this set, because being a supporter, you're going to want to have it include Nasty Plot or Work Up. Work Up will raise attack and special attack, but not at the heightened stage levels that Nasty Plot will for special attack. So it's all up to your strategy. Maybe even include a Heal Bell in there if you need a status repair. And Baton Pass is vital for this set. This way, all the workups, nasty plots, and any other status changes you do can be transferred beneficially to the rest of your comrades. Our second set comes to us from Badass X Scrafty, and it's the Sleeper Succubus. Taking a different approach to how Togepi can support your team, instead of boosting moves to later transfer onto your sweeper types, this set takes advantage of its sleepy nature and its adorableness. Look at that. Wouldn't you just love to cuddle a Togepi and go to sleep as it drains your dreams and devours them? Well, that's the tactic we use here, and different from the effort value set of mine, is the full maximization of defense and special defense. So max out defense, max out special, throw a couple last remaining effort values, as I mentioned before, to speed. And that's why you don't see 6 as opposed to, having the full 5/10 is because of that divisibility by 4 factor, which actually equals a stat increase. You could have 1 effort value on a stat, and it will not change that stat. You could have 3, still won't do a thing. 4, that's when you get your bonus. Again, I reiterate, effort value expertise, it's a good guide to get you through anything that you don't understand here today. So, Encore, a great way to screw up your opponent into getting stuck into a stat-boosting move. Now, this would be most beneficial if you got it trapped into a move that boosted its attack or special attack or something of that nature, because you don't want to make it more durable. You don't want to increase its ability to boost its defenses, but that's not a problem. If you can do proper prediction here, and you manage an Encore on a non-attacking move, then Yawn will be your next step, because while it's stuck in a perpetual loop of pointlessness, you can put it to sleep, and that's when you eat its dreams. And Endeavor is there to have this set not be complete taunt fodder, because that could happen easily too. Imagine if you encored a taunt. Wonderful! Now the rest of everything I used, if Endeavor was not here, would be absolutely useless. And there are some additional things you can do with this set. Instead of, perhaps, boosting stats for your team, you can boost your overall party's defense with Reflect or Light Screen. Special or physical, it's up to you. And Attract is an interesting strategy that I've seen work a couple of times in NPC territory, so not playing in metagame, just on the main game. But I don't know how much you can rely on it because, again, it's sort of like Metronome in that you can't be too sure what gender you're going to face. So you might as well just be ready to completely debase anything that comes out with this set or the first. So I'm interested to hear, what do you guys think? Have you used Togepi before in your metagame? It's a little poke that's often very much forgotten, but it holds a special place in my heart for being the first egg poke I ever received in a Pokemon game in Crystal, my first. So it's cool to see it on this series, and I'm Deogenz reminding you to subscribe to Planet Poke if you like this series, because lots more will come to your inbox if you do. And if you want to check out that series I mentioned like a couple times before in the episode, Expert Value Expertise is on youtube.com/Deogenz. And while you're there, why not drop me a PM on next week's set if you've got a suggestion, because I will happily include it and give you props in the making of. So, I'll see you next week. Oh, but before we go, I'm taking Japanese right now, Japanese language, and I just learned hiragana and katakana, so I can know these things. And one of the vocab words I had to know is toki, which toki stands for watch or clock. So now Togepi makes a ton more sense. When it was waving its fingers in the anime going toki, 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 it literally was saying, as it was preparing for a metronome, which, you know, metronomes and clocks, kind of the same thing, at least in their moving back and forth attitudes. That's what it's doing. It's being a literal metronome and saying clock, 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 clock. So, just a bit of fun Japanese trivia for you. I'm Deogenz, and I will see you next week.